Awesome. Hello, everyone. Good evening. Alex here, as always, the host from Phoenix Holdings, and I have the distinct pleasure to welcome KOLnet here with us. Actually, not to prolong too much, I'm gonna give the floor to the gentlemen to introduce themselves. Ryan, Atif, floor is yours.
Hey, Alex, great to be here. Thanks for having us, and it's a pleasure to be speaking to everyone.
Hey guys, yeah,
So, a little
nice
bit
to be here.
about
Yeah, sorry, go
a,
ahead.
li- little bit about our background, who the team are, and uh, and then we can go into talking about a bit about the project. So, myself, I'm the co-founder alongside Atif as well. Um, been in tech for decades now, um, primarily in telecommunications, healthcare, and energy. Running a consultancy here in the UK for large blue chip organizations like Telefonica, Centrica, Hewlett Packard, and so on. And across a number of disciplines like big data, smart IoT, public key infrastructure. And that's really where my interest was tweaked when crypto came around in about 2017. I got involved. And so KOLnet's got a team, a strong team of developers across, I think we're at eight now, um, from blockchain, full stack devs, UI, and as you'll probably learn, because there's a lot of data aspects to what we're doing, we've got a number of data scientists on board as well, and they're helping us with the proprietary algorithms that we're creating here at KOLnet. And a worthy mention is also David Atkinson. He, if you don't know, is the commercial director and founder of HoloChain, and he provides the technical and product advisory for KOLnet, and it's been a real eye opener working with him, and he's been really a pillar in the way that KOLnet's been formed to date. So Atif, do you want to come in and introduce yourself
Yeah,
as well?
I'll just briefly take you through a bit about my background as well. So, different to Ryan, I come from a business background, working with startups and being involved with various business disciplines. Crypto, blockchain space, I've been involved from late 2016, and which initially being involved with a mining center in Iceland in partnership with Borealis Data Center. And from there, I was involved part of Global Blockchain Consortium, where we were educating and speaking to projects and advising them. That also led me to work very closely with quite a few of the founders of certain projects, and kind of gave an opportunity to kind of, apart from just investment and mining, being able to really see some of the issues that lie within the crypto space, uh, which is part of the journey, and part of the reason how CoreNet came about as well, realizing the problems within the crypto marketing spaces.
Perfect, perfect. Thank you for the in-depth introduction. Definitely. Now, before we actually jump into because we kind of covered the initial, your experience, how many members in the team, what areas of expertise do they cover? What I want to know is how did you guys, either you Ryan or you Atif or whoever, doesn't even matter. How was Colnet built? What was the foundation for it? How did you guys come up with the idea? Was that strictly based on the fact that there is a real demand for such a project, or it was a concept that was kind of forgotten, and you guys decided, okay, we should bring this to the crypto industry?
Ryan,
Yeah. So I mean,
yeah, go ahead.
yeah. So there's a bit of an echo. I mean, we working with a number of founders, especially Atif, as well. We and closely with the other projects as well. Um, we realized that the real struggle point for them was marketing. A huge amount of, if you don't know, a huge amount of a lot of projects' budgets go towards marketing, and whether that be awareness of what the project's doing, user acquisition for the tech that they've built, whether that be gaming and they want people to come in and and start to use their platform, whatever they're driving for that marketing, that is the real bridge for adoption for what that project's offering is, especially in token utility as well. So I mean, that's what we realized, and as we were working with these guys, the the inefficiencies and centralization with respect to influencers, and that's commonly what they're referred to as, but we like to use the term key opinion leaders as it's kind of broader, includes, thought leaders, content creators, and everyone under that umbrella, whether it be somebody streaming whilst they're playing particular gaming, and they have a followership because of that. They're all part of this umbrella that we call key opinion leaders, and they have a social media handle where they create this marketing reach effectively. And so what we realized is that actually um, this is where improvements need to be made. Many projects were complaining that we've given these massive allocations to these influencers, and we've only got one tweet, we've got one review. They haven't really pushed the project beyond that. We've been trying to get in touch with them, and it's been really, really difficult. So as the number of projects in crypto in Web3 grow from, I mean, we're nearly at like 18, 20,000 projects now, uh, and the number of influencers that these guys are connecting with is, there's a limited supply of them, and therefore the airtime that they're able to offer again is limited. So it's solving a real problem to a solution that exists out there, and many people don't realize that.
Yeah, and just to add to this, so just with the number of small number of influencers being available, this is all happening while there's vast majority uh, uh, of of people out there with social media following who have got genuine following, who have got genuine engagement, who actually want to be involved, but they don't get recognized purely because of them having a smaller following, right? Or them not being connected to the projects or VCs directly, and rightly so as well, because it's difficult for these VCs or any sort of agency to manage hundreds of smaller influencers, that KOLs, that basically uh, can take part in bringing that exposure to a project, even though they've got a lot of value to provide, which everyone recognizes in the background. Um that's that's one of the, I mean, key points as well of KOLnet is it does that. It allows for numbers to kind of join in, to provide this crowd kind of marketing influence, and and this is while us recognizing that there's clear stats out there, which Ryan can probably, or myself, we can go a bit more detail into, but there's clear stats out there showing that these guys have actually got a higher engagement rate than the larger influencers overall.
I would say so as well. Thanks for the additional comment, Ryan. I think it brings a bit more light to the table. Again, not that the comments from Atif and the explanation weren't clear, but everything that's additional will help us understand the vision and the somehow the end goal that you guys have. Um, Now that we kind of established who you guys are, who's the team behind it, what areas of expertise can you cover. Let's talk a bit more about KOLnet itself. Now, at its foundation, you guys are trying to build, correct me if I'm wrong here, a marketing launchpad. However, walk us through the vision here, pretty much from the beginning to the current state. We'll cover the upcoming features as well. What more can you tell us about KOLnet in its, let's say, in its foundation? What does it stand for? What does it plan to achieve? And how do you plan to achieve that?
Yeah, so I mean, so KOLnet really, in terms of vision, what we're trying to do is create a trust uh, trusted platform that's transparent, that's built on Web3, that allows for key opinion leaders or anyone with a marketing reach Like I said, that could be anyone who's a content creator, somebody who's streaming online that has a followership, to come along to KOLnet and effectively find projects that they really, really like. They can then accumulate tokens from them, from those projects at pre-sale prices, at very, very early prices. And so effectively you're getting long-term supporters to the projects that are trying to launch, and they're creating adoption for those projects. So they're reaching out to followers who are excited by that project, and Atif mentioned engagement rates, and it's something that we do, and the way we do it is effectively we connect via Web2 API. And if you don't know what APIs are, they're just the they're interfaces between applications online that allows for the transfer of data. So, for example, Twitter, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, all of these allow for anyone, the public, to effectively extract data from them. And what we do is, from the KOLnet platform, is we extract this data about, number of followers and engagement rates. I'll describe engagement rates, and we extract all of this data, we model it, and this supports the platform in terms of what is the quality of marketing that these KOLs are providing to these projects. So, there are thousands of projects launching. They have millions of dollars that they're putting towards marketing. Influencers are a large majority of that spend. So what are they getting back? What's the return that they're getting back in terms of marketing reach? And so we crunch this data, and we provide this data to the projects and say, well, look, you've got 50, 60 influencers or KOLs who have joined your IMO, initial marketing offering, and that's the kind of vehicle that allows for this to happen, and it's underpinned by smart contracts. And so this is the quality of the marketing that's taking place for these IMOs, for these particular projects that they've created, and driving real adoption, to what is considered to be, and a really like a underperceived or understood, if that's a term, part of the market. And insiders, people who are working on within Web3, they will understand the importance of influencers, marketing, and the different campaigns that take place for a project's launch or even post launch as well, that a project will continue to spend on. So it's a really, really important part, and I think what KOLnet offers is very, very powerful.
I would definitely say so because I mean, by the looks of it right now, and I was actually looking through some of the documentation as well that you guys brought forward. uh, you identified the main problems, and by identify I mean not just that you thought about them, you're tackling them in the proper way. And the most, when I say the problems for the community out there, in case you guys are not looking at the documentation right now, it's already posted in Phoenix. What I mean by the problem is, we all know the conventional launch pads and the ways that they're using to offer the fundraisings. the
Hmm.
the the main key point that I saw here, and I love how you guys put it into perspective, is that the projects that we all hunt, because those are our bread and butter. There's no scalable method for them to provide the proof of marketing in any of the pre-sale rounds. So I'm not talking only about pre-sale or angel rounds or whatever. And then the solution that you guys can bring forward, and here probably I'm gonna reiterate what you guys just mentioned, is the, let's say, the verification of work in which you guys are going to enable the participation via that proof of marketing. In terms, and again, this may sound complex to the people out there. um, at some point, I think we all maybe had contact with the call, or thought about being one, I don't know, for a project. um, in the end, I think it was always a discrepancy between between the calls and the community launch pads. Are you guys, maybe, I think that the solution that you guys are bringing forward is to make those a common ground. Am I correct by saying that, Ryan? You guys are trying to build like a common platform that will solve those problems, but not solve them. Maybe, let's say, merge the two parties together in one way or another.
Yeah, I mean that's a very, very interesting way to put it. Yeah. So we don't compete with the existing IDEO platforms. We complement them, and we've partnered with Infinity Pad, that's a sister launchpad to DAOmaker. We've also got GameStarter because gaming's, I think, a mainstay for Web3, and that's something that we're keen to continue to explore. Solana Prime and so on as Starter is another one. And so the idea is that we complement the engagement for these projects as they run up to their public sale. Different IDO platforms have different methods, like DAOmaker and Infinity Pad have this SHO approach, but in essence, it allows the public to get involved in the early sale of projects, and really IMOs complement that. So we don't compete with the IDO platforms. And just in terms of like the proof of marketing that you were mentioning, yeah. So we want to drive value to tokens. Projects, the tokens are really valuable for these projects, and they don't want to give them away uh, just for liquidity. What they want to be able to do is drive value to them, and that's what KOLnet does. Is that marketing reach? I'll talk about gaming because gaming's a really, really big one and clear utility. But you know, if you want people to come in and start engaging, you want to drive user acquisition, you want gamers and gaming KOLs with their followerships to actually actively use that platform. And if you're giving away tokens in order to do that, then of course it has a multiplier effect. And projects can then go to confidently to exchanges, to IDO platforms, and say, well, look, I've got now X thousand users now using this tech that we've built, and it strengthens their proposition. So KOLnet, I think, I mean, since when we've had our public and the ability for everyone to register, pre-register at least, we've had hundreds of applications from projects saying that we want to do IMOs. We've had hundreds of KOLs pre-registering who want to get on board. So we've been overwhelmed by the numbers, and so clearly there is definitely a gap here that we're filling.
I would say, Ryan, in addition to that, that it's more than a gap, because, and I think everybody here knows that when it comes to the KOLs, as you said, so far there hasn't been an approach, and I'm gonna go strict into the proof of marketing that you guys are seeking to develop. What that basically is, because it's a first, at least in my opinion. Correct me if I'm wrong, anyone here in the chat. If you guys have seen this in another place, maybe I'm wrong. I don't think it's there. Basically, the work of the so-called KOLs is verified before releasing such tokens, which, I mean, at the moment it isn't. um,
Mhm.
Ryan, you actually, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. Have we seen any other um, incentive similar to yours, or approach, where the work is actually verified before obtaining the reward itself, which in this case is would be the pre-sale tokens? Because I haven't seen anything like this so far.
There are very similar projects, but not in the way that we're doing it. So we've got this, like you say, this proof of marketing, which provides consensus. So this is like from Twitter, YouTube, TikTok, confirmation that marketing is actually taking place and the quality of that marketing. And then we, almost like an oracle, we bring this on chain, and then we say, okay, so this is the contract between a KOL and a project. This is the marketing that was done and the quality of the marketing, and now tokens can be released based on that consensus. So to my understanding, we are the first, but I'm sure we're not going to be the last, and there are going to be other projects out there who are going to start bringing out concepts similar to proof of marketing, and that's good, because more competition means that this is something that really people should be looking at, and we'd like to, and I think we we have an advantage as a first mover, And one of our USPs, unique selling points, is that because we're extracting this data, we're modeling it alongside some other elements. So, for example, just to go a little bit of a step further, we'll be looking at the wallets of these KOLs because that's how they register on the platform. And this is where they receive their tokens from these projects that they do marketing for. If they are then dumping those tokens, it's not very good for those projects. And that's behavior that is not very conducive to what KOLnet's trying to achieve. And therefore, we will rank. So we have a ranking system. We'll mark those KOLs down, and it will limit their ability to join future IMOs. Whereas if they sell responsibly, because we're not here to dictate how people sell their tokens, if they sell responsibly, then of course that's their prerogative, but it doesn't damage the project, and in that way their ranking actually goes up. So we have this internal ranking system within KOLnet that allows for the best behavior to. It's gamified. So if you do good behavior, you go up, and therefore you get more reward and more access. And if it's not so good, then you can potentially even be removed from the platform as well.
Interesting concept. So in one way or another, maybe I'm wrong when saying this, but still, it's kind of in the back of my mind. You guys are gonna function like an escrow, where unless I have what I say I have, like the proof of my work on the platform,
Mhm.
I cannot gain access to the reward itself.
Exactly.
Okay. Well, I may be incorrect when I say similar to an escrow account, but probably in its foundation, something like that. The reason why I'm saying this is because I used to have a similar principle applied to my work when I was doing freelancing. So until I could have proven my work, the articles or whatever I was doing, I didn't actually have access to the funds itself, which makes it safe for everybody. Like I cannot lie, hey Ryan, listen, this is what I did, what in fact I didn't. Sure, maybe at some point you can actually let's say run after me and gain the funds back, funds that you used to pay me, but
Hmm.
it's a lot of extra effort. So this is where you guys come in and say, listen, a lot of calls out there that and again, I'm not judging anyone. You guys claim you can do this or that. Okay, good stuff, but prove it first. And then everybody would actually, because I think what every project would like to know is that there are metrics behind that you can consult. So I'm a fairly new project I want to launch, and I'm like, okay, who do I go who do I go towards that can help me bring this project forward, market it, or let's say establish some AMAs or so on and so forth. There are so many groups and so many influencers and so many calls out there. You wouldn't actually know if you're a beginner. You wouldn't know where to begin with. KOLnet. You go there and you see the metrics. I'm assuming at some point you guys are gonna have like a leadership board maybe of some sort to kind of
Yeah.
rank the various calls, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And so this ranking system that's part inherent within the platform drives that quality to the top. And smart contracts, I mean, that's their primary purpose. They provide that escrow system. It allows for off-chain data to be brought in, and that's what KOLnet kind of does. And we continue to drive. Uh, what is so for example, like you said, you gave the example of a project that came along and saying, well, what am I going to get for these tokens I'm going to give away, ensuring that I don't lose any. But also at the same time, KOLnet can actually, it's crunching all of this data, and I'm a gaming project, or I'm a traditional DeFi project. Where was the best success criteria for that? Well, we can extract geographic data, so what we're calling performance marketing, from Twitter and TikTok and YouTube, Instagram. So we can extract this geographic data, and we can say, well, the last couple of DeFi projects did really well in Japan, South America, Eastern Europe, and therefore you should select 20% of your KOLs from these geographic locations. And so this is like performance marketing. Um, where we're continually driving more and more metrics to increasing the quality and the decision making for projects trying to achieve the best value for the tokens with respect to marketing.
This is brilliant, my man. The performance marketing. I mean, maybe not all of it because I'm not going to be able to cover all of it, but strictly the fact that you guys can show other projects or even the project owner. If I were to ask you guys, okay, so how'd you manage to help me the most, you guys could actually pull the metrics and say, hey, listen, out of all the, let's say, influencers or calls or however you want to call them, let's say that the Spanish side did the best, while the other side, I don't know, whatever, English side, for example, didn't. This is a unique, and what I'm curious to know is how will you be able to extract that data? I mean, and again, not so technical because I'm not good with technicalities. And if you can make it in a nutshell, let's say for me and the community.
So it's similar to the way like Google works. So if you type in "I want a plumber in my local town in London or Paris or wherever you might be in the world," Google will record the locations and where those people are based, and records your IP address and picks that up. And so therefore it can give you local services in a similar way. TikTok and all the social media channels effectively do a similar sort of thing. And this data is public. We don't breach any rules within the social media channels of taking any private or private data. We are very careful about that. And anyone can access this, right? So you can actually go onto um, YouTube's API section, and you can actually extract this data. It's publicly available. What we're doing with it is we're modeling this data. So we're saying this type of category of project, this geography of KOL, this type of engagement rate, and then we kind of model all of this data, and then we produce the best possible outcomes for the projects who are coming on and for the KOLs as well, who are getting involved, like targeting them towards the best projects. Or if they're, for example, if you're a KOL who speaks predominantly about NFTs, you're not going to be too interested about a metaverse based project unless there's a NFT utility within it. But I mean, so there's that it's all data, and we're automating all of it. It's all driven through algorithms. There's no manual processes. We're not like a traditional centralized agency. We're pushing all of this data on chain, we're modeling it on chain, and then we're allowing smart contracts to do the heavy lifting, like the escrow part of it that you described, offering these services to as many people, as many projects as possible. And I mean, it is, and people might be thinking, well, how do I get involved? This is between projects and KOLs. Where's the value going to be driven to this token? And what we've done is we've created a staking reward mechanism for KOLnet. And the idea behind it is that every IMO, every marketing pool that that comes onto KOLnet or created within KOLnet, a percentage of that will be extracted and put into this reward pool. And all you need to do is stake KOLnet token, and you'll receive all of the pre-sale tokens of all of these different projects creating IMOs automatically. And depending on the number of people staking, the ratio of people staking, that's effectively the reward that you'll receive.
Another thing that for sure I can vouch to everybody has not been approached yet, and another unique feature that you guys bring to the table, not to mention because you were mentioning at the beginning, Ryan, the fact that the data, the let's say the API for the API, sorry, for YouTube is public. Definitely, I mean, probably it is, but someone like me wouldn't even know what to do with that. So that's where you guys come in, and you actually, as you said, you can uh, make use of the data in terms of man, this is so exciting. I'm so into the fact that you guys are going to centralize the data and the, let's say, the work of marketers, and I will be mean when I'll say so-called marketers, because I'll be honest, and I think everybody here knows that at some point many projects failed because they trusted the wrong people. Not everybody can market a product. I personally cannot market all of the products. Maybe some I can, maybe some I can't. Um, by the way, and this is actually quite an idea on my side. Can someone like me, for example, join? What would be the requirement for me to join KOLnet as a KOL, for example? What would I need to bring forward first, just to be considered? Let's say.
Sure, sure. So Atif mentioned this earlier on about engagement rates. And so, say for example, everyone looks at an influencer and says, "Oh, well, you can only be an influencer if you've got 1 million followers or 500,000 followers or whatever it might be." That's not actually the case. What we're talking about here is that uh, if even if you have 500 followers, um, but every time you put out a post about a particular project or something that you might find interesting, say for example, I don't know, 100 out of that 500 people actually engage and say, "Excellent, I'm going to go and check it out. Really interesting. I've got somebody in my family who's interested in this type of project," or whatever it might be. They're engaging, and those measures are actually recorded by Twitter, YouTube, and so on. And these are called engagement rates. And so you can get engagement rate for a particular handle, like how much engagement does a handle, particular social media KOL get, or how much engagement rate does a particular post get. So they put out a post about a particular type of project and it got loads of engagement or got very little engagement. So all of that is measurable. And so we're not looking at the number of followers that people have. Oh, we are. It's one of the one of the indicators, but not exclusively. We look at a whole bunch of other stuff, including engagement rates, and that gives us a clear view of actually you might have fewer followers, but your engagement rate is really, really high. And so we have put together all of these different metrics. We've created an algorithm that when you onboard, you put in your social media handle, and it will say, "Yeah, you've passed these certain thresholds, and you can now join in on an IMO." Um, so even if you have, a few hundred followers, just come in, register, on board onto the platform, and if you're accepted, then it's based on factors that mean that you are a good or potentially a good KOL with the potential of growth. And you now have an opportunity to get access to projects and pre-sale tokens, the best potential prices for these projects, and start marketing. And because it's all automated, because it's on chain, it allows for not just like five influencers with 500 followers. It allows for 100 influencers with 500 followers to come along and create crowd marketing effectively with much higher engagement rates. And crypto hasn't really caught up here because of the cyclical nature of crypto. The bull markets, the alt seasons, and then we go into this long bear market. What tends to happen is that areas like this get missed, and traditional markets like wherever it might be, fashion or sports, they've really picked up on the idea of the concept of a micro influencer, this influencer that has a smaller number of followers but a much higher engagement rate. And this is data that you can go and check out online. It's widely available, and it shows that micro KOLs achieve 4 times the engagement rates than the macro or celebrity KOLs, up to 8 times. And in geographic locations like Japan, for example, it can even go up to 50%. So there are cultural aspects to it as well. So I mean, this is what this is where the value is. This is where the quality is actually achieved. And a lot of these KOLs don't. If someone's looking at them and saying, "Well, you've only got 500 followers, why am I going to give you an allocation in my project to market this particular project?" They're missing the point there. So this is what KOLnet achieves. It groups these marketers together, and it creates the ability to bring mass adoption from micro KOLs who are not getting any revenue from pre-sale tokens.
Yeah, I don't think that's a the example that you just gave. Just in theory, of course, it's definitely the wrong approach if you ask me. The fact that you would look at let's say a cold account, a person's account, you would look at a person's account, you would say, okay, you have just 1,000 followers, but in perspective, and I think this is what you guys are actually gonna. I don't think I know for a fact. This is what you're gonna do the ratio between the followers and their actions. Let's say. So, for example, I'm a, let's say, well-known influencer in the crypto space. I got like 40,000 followers. But then on every post that I do, doesn't matter if it's a promo or just my opinion, I get somewhere between 500 to 1,000 reactions. But then someone else with 5,000 followers comes in and he gets 50% of the followers reaction, so that's 2,500. He would be a better option for you guys instead of me. But correct me if I'm wrong.
Exactly. Exactly. And yeah, and you've put it across really, really well. And that's what crypto is missing. These KOLs are not being monetized. That social media reach that they're potentially offering is not being utilized. And so therefore we've got a really inefficient marketing system within crypto. And if we want to drive more adoption, look, we're going to see, I mean, the whole concept of podcasts has gone crazy over the last couple of years. The number of podcasts that are coming out is incredible. The number of people who are deciding to actually share their opinions and driving massive amounts of followership to themselves is incredible. And we're going to see this increase over the years. In 5 to 10 years' time, we're going to see the adoption within Web3. It's gonna go up by X's, and therefore, what are the mechanisms by which those are going to happen? And we think KOLnet's going to be part of that process. And so, therefore, we are in it for the long run. It is, if you and I keep coming back to this point, this value point, that if you realize the amount um, of the budgets that are involved with marketing, they're humongous, absolutely humongous, with the money coming into crypto. So KOLnet is going to be right in the middle of all of that.
Yeah, I think it was about time, especially now since I know maybe some don't want to hear it, but we are in a bear market. It was about time for someone to actually say, listen, we have so many influencers, but so few results. We need to maximize that for the upcoming period, whichever that is. It doesn't even matter. I don't think, and this is where the interesting part comes in. You guys are not codependent on the market. It doesn't really matter if you guys if Bitcoin is at 50K or 20K, the the work that it's being done to your platform and on your platform is not actually dependent on the market. I mean, of course, some can argue and they can say, a lot of projects actually get developed in bear and they get launched in bull. That's the proper way of doing them typically. But then the bull market has, I don't know, 50 times more projects. Yeah, but in the other hand, and I don't want to be mean to anybody, you can get 10 times more rugs in the bull market than you can get now. So because not a lot of people are, let's say, confident enough to launch it. I don't know. This is just my opinion. So again, I'm not gonna start a debate. There are over 75 people right now. So this is just my opinion. Don't get me the wrong way. Um, One more question from my side, Ryan. Before the communities actually started, man, they're super eager on this. What I would like to know, and I'm gonna skip the traditional questions because this is way big of a project, and I want to see some of the perspective from the community. Um, what can you tell me about some of your marketing plans, be it applied already or in development or upcoming? What are some of your strategies? Because you definitely have the marketing launch pad, so it's going to probably market by itself. Have you thought about anything in particular, or I don't know, should we wait and be surprised maybe?
Uh, I think the platform drives itself. We're in this fortunate position that every project that comes and does an IMO, people are going to hear about KOLnet. We are fortunate as well because the backers and investors that we have realized the potential of KOLnet, and they are bringing tier one, very, very strong projects to KOLnet. So we've got, NGC. If you don't know who NGC are, check them out. They're a fund from, way back early on in crypto, and humongous access within Web3. GBIC, a really important partnership as well. A faculty group. I mean, they've got 130 projects within their ecosystem. SL2 Capital. So these are really strong backers. They're bringing really, really strong projects to KOLnet, and doing those projects, doing IMOs on KOLnet, will then everyone will get to hear the fact that KOLnet is actually doing an IMO for these projects. So it's a self-fulfilling prophecy with KOLnet, and we're working also with the guys at DAOmaker as well. We've officially partnered with their sister launchpad, InfinityPad, and so every project that comes through InfinityPad will also have an IMO. And I mean, with respect to and just linking it into the point that you were making about the bear market and or launching in bear markets, or this approach, and why we're taking it slightly differently. Our token is tied to the platform, and because we are committed to delivering our roadmap, we are launching our token alongside our version 1, which is going to be coming out very, very shortly, in a few days. So what is really key here is that KOLnet is working towards this model of user acquisition. So say, for example, and what I mean by that is, like, if you're a project, you're going into a bear market, you want to try and survive, you want to build as much usership of your tech as possible. And if people are using your tech and your user acquisition has gone up by 500% by the time the next bull run comes, you're then looking them to drive real value. I'm not going to talk about price, because what we want to try and do is deliver on our vision of solving the problems that we've promised to actually do. So I think that's what we're doing, and if you do that, look, price is going to follow. And I think that's the important takeaway: is how do you continually build and grow in terms of user acquisition through bear markets. And I think KOLnet does that.
Honestly, from what I'm hearing from you, I think KOLnet that does that as well, amongst many other things. That's for sure. Um, Looking at my let's see, my board here with some of the questions, and as I've said, Ryan, um, I've actually skipped some of the standard ones because it would have not been engaging towards anybody to ask you about the roadmap and the tokenomics and so on and so forth. I think we can spare maybe a couple of minutes to talk about that towards the end, if that's okay with you.
So
Perfect. Can we actually? I mean, can I actually? Maybe I can dive into some of the community questions if you're ready to answer some of them. I'm seeing a lot of interesting ones.
yeah, let's go for it.
Awesome. The first one, and actually, um, with embarrassment or not, I don't even know the difference. Muhammad wants to know micro call accounts have increased by up to 60% compared to macro. So micro compared to macro. What's the difference between them?
So this is just an arbitrary figure of defining. So out there right now, you've got celebrity KOLs, so like the Mayweathers, the Elon Musk. So these are thought leaders and key opinion leaders who have celebrity status, and then you have macro KOLs, who are the influencers, content creators who have the largest followings in a particular niche or industry or area that people are interested in. and then it's just kind of like a distribution, and that distribution then says, right, well, if you're not a macro, then you're a micro, and it varies between platform and platform. So for example, on Twitter, being a macro KOL could mean that you've got 100,000 followers, therefore you're a macro KOL. Whereas on TikTok, that wouldn't necessarily mean that you're a macro KOL. You may need to be over 250k just by the nature of the social media channel. So I mean. I don't think there are any fixed figures. They're generic terms to try and define the different types of influencers that are out there, and you'll see them on different sites, social media analytics sites, different figures for different categories. So some will say that a micro KOL is defined between 2 and 5,000 followers or 50,000 followers, and you might find that totally different from 10,000 to something else on a different site. But the idea is to try and define that there is this segregation, there is this different type of influencer, and we're seeing the growth of those, as time goes on.
Perfect. Thank you for the clarification. I thought I had an idea. It was just I was, let's say, close to it. Let's actually play with the chat as well. Pinocchio, you're unmuted. Give us a good question. You got a couple of seconds before we move on. Okay. Let's see. Fortunate, give us a good question. TikTok.
Okay, good evening. Good evening. I hope you can hear me, sir.
Yep.
Hey,
Okay, so while I was reading from your website, I realized that KOLnet is, yeah, they make use of a proof of marketing strategy used in connecting projects. So I really do not understand that part because I'm only familiar with proof of work and proof of stake, and I don't know how this will eventually evolutionalize the crypto market. So I'll be very very grateful if you maybe elaborate on that. Thank you very much.
sure. Yeah, thanks, Fortunate, for the question. So proof of marketing is this concept because we're the platform is about social reach or marketing with respect to social media channels and influencers, content creators, or what we call key opinion leaders. How do we confirm work done that we can then bring onto the blockchain? And so this concept is called proof of marketing. So the work that's done on these social media channels, KOLnet is able, like an oracle, to confirm, one, that it's done, and the data that underpins that work, like how good it is in terms of engagement and impressions and that kind of thing, and then it brings it on chain. So effectively, they are the engine that create the marketing. So proof of marketing effectively is consensus of work done for marketing for projects.
Perfect. Thanks for that, Ryan. Actually, I saw the proof marketing question many times in the chat, so I hope by that we actually covered most of the questions on that. Let's see. Commissioner, unmuted. Give us a good question.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yep. Go ahead.
Hey.
Okay, so you see, I asked my question on the group chat. I don't know if you saw it. So okay, my question is, you see, most time the project owner, you see, they have proposed intent in mind and encouraging investors to get in so so that they can use their money that they used to invest in order to boost their project and also finalize their project. So my question is, what if the amount of money that we investors are supposed to invest in the project does not reach in order to like back up your project? So I would like to know the next step you will take in order for you to make your project successful.
Okay, so so Commissioner, I think I understood the gist of your question. It's how do you make your project successful and get good price action? Is that what you're asking?
No, I said, you see most project owner, I said they collect, they tell we investors to invest in their project in order for them to use our money to finalize their project, in order to build up their project. But what if the
Sure.
amount of money we investor was supposed to invest in this particular project does not reach? I want to know the step you are going to take.
Okay, so with IMOs, the projects will be able to define what the budget is of the IMO. So it could be anything that they're willing to offer these KOLs, um, and so they offer them in pre-sale tokens. Like you say, that these are early tokens that allow projects to drive liquidity so that they can build this project. And so IMOs is the vehicle to allow them to do that. But what they're also achieving with that is not just liquidity, is they're actually achieving marketing, and that marketing can come in different ways, just in terms of awareness of what the project is actually building, acquisition. So if they're NFTs, it's people liking those NFTs, and more people potentially wanting to get involved, or a gaming project where you want user acquisition and people coming in and playing to earn, or metaverse, and then so on. The utilities that those projects want to drive people into to kind of use. So it's marketing across the board, as well as providing liquidity for these pre-sale tokens. So the initial marketing offering is the kind of the vehicle, the mechanism to allow that to happen. I hope that answered the question.
I would say so, definitely. Thanks for that, Ryan. Let's see. I actually saw another interesting one in the, because we were covering the portion of the bear market. One of the questions was, has the bear market impacted the development of the token in any way so far?
It, it's brought forward some of our plans that we had further out. So one of the areas that Faculty Group, one of our investors and advisors, are really keen on us pushing and developing, and now the bear market's given us an opportunity in answering your question, to bring that forward, and we're looking at that for early next year, is the ability for projects that have already launched, for them to be able to come in and lock up their tokens. So they've got these vesting schedules where they've got tokens that are being emitted all the time. And so how do they drive value to those tokens? If they were able to lock them into marketing pools, they could actually get marketing in return for those tokens. And so it's driving value to those projects in the bear market. And Faculty Group are pushing 130 projects to come in and do that. So we've under a considerable amount of pressure now to start developing those plans for next year.
It kind of makes sense. I don't think there's a project out there at the moment that can say no, the bear market hasn't actually impacted us. It's more or less relative, and as I've said, I don't think that that the core concept is somehow probably not related directly to the price itself of Bitcoin. Sure, it will help, but until then, I don't think you guys are going to have many concerns. Hopefully, or maybe I'm too optimistic. Who knows? Another thing, Ryan, that I may have missed myself. Um, are there any partnerships signed by KOLnet yet? I think we mentioned, actually, you mentioned the GameStar Infinity Pad. Um, did I miss anything else, or is there anything else that you want to disclose right now?
Yeah, so we've recently partnered with House of Chimera. This is uh, a group of researchers who have got involved and done work for Polygon and Syscoin, and a number of other Silica, a number of other projects. We want to work with them to be part of the due diligence process. So not only do we want to make sure that the projects that are coming on are vetted, doxed, and come from credible sources, but we also want to make sure that they're driving real value as well. Are they solving a problem? Do they see future growth within Web3? And so House of Chimera coming on and being part of that due diligence process for KOLnet. We've got other partnerships like Total Gaming. Total Gaming is an Indian gaming channel on YouTube and a number of other social media channels. They've got, I think, nearly 25 million plus followers. India is massive. That's one of the areas that we want to really focus on. They've got a very tech savvy population who are now coming up into the middle classes, so they now have money to spend, and a generation that really starts to understand how tokenized projects work, and they're keen to get involved. So Total Gaming are working with us to drive more and more micro KOLs coming out of India onto KOLnet. We've got Lossless. If you haven't heard of Lossless, they're like an anti-DeFi hack project where they protect projects on chain to if they are hacked to recover their funds. So we've integrated their tech into KOLnet. We've got we've got launch pads on there. We mentioned a couple of names: Solana Prime, Thor Starter, Game Starter, Infinity Pad, and there are a queue of others lining up to a partnership to be part of that. We've got the DeFi Collective, which is a group of incredible Web3 based people within the space that gives us a lot of connections in terms of ecosystem. We've got other communities like Crypto Boost, Crypto Zin. So we've got loads coming on where we've got some partnerships that are going to be announced soon. Some of them are quite big. We're actually in talks to layer ones and layer twos. So as part of our future rollout, we're going to be introducing new chains. But what's really interesting is that what we're being asked to do is offer IMOs to everyone, allow them to run their own IMOs. So projects and VC funds are coming to us and saying, guys, can we have some of your technology? We'll pay you for it. And this is called white labeling. We've said, well, no, because that doesn't do very well for the platform, for the token. So we're working to look at a way that we can actually have a DAO model that drives value to the token, and anyone can create their own IMO and run it in their own chain, wherever that might be. So that's something that we're working on. It's a future endeavor, but you'll hear about that very, very soon.
Awesome. So even more things to come, as I was expecting, definitely. I tried to answer some of the other questions in the chat myself. Still a lot of questions on the proof of marketing. I actually gave them the documentation because it makes it easier. Let's take maybe one more from the chat. Let's see. The Boomer, unmuted. Give us a good question, sir. But please, if possible, make it shorter, Boomer, so that we can get it.
Day, man.
Yeah, good
Hello,
evening, my
hey
man.
Alex,
Good
how you
evening.
doing?
We can hear you. Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah. Thanks for the opportunity. So, like you said, let me just go straight to my question because my question is based on the token. Yeah, for most people, the main focus of any crypto community is on the price of the token. When the price goes up, a lot of people are happy, and when it goes down, some people, of course, they'll tend to lose interest in investing in that project because they won't gain any benefit or profit. So my question is, what is the team plan? What is your team plan to uh to strengthen and grow a loyal community? And how do we trust it as an investor? And also, when it comes to the maintenance of the token, how do you plan to maintain the value of the token when it comes to day-to-day changes of markets? So do you get the question?
Yeah, it's a great question. Yeah, so I mean, in terms of what we do, if you understand the value proposition of KOLnet being in the middle of potentially thousands of projects wanting to do IMOs to get marketing, as they all do, uh, then it's extremely lucrative in the Web3 space, in the crypto space. But also just in terms of how do we drive more value and utility to the token. So what we're doing is we're allowing anyone holding staking the KOL token to receive a reward of all, so that's a percentage of every IMO that comes through KOLnet. So normally when you stake a token, it's a single staking approach where you get an APY. And normally that's very, very inflationary because everybody's getting more of the same token, which is devaluing it. What we're saying here is that you just hold our token, you stake it, and you'll get all of the projects that are coming through KOLnet, a percentage of them, you'll be getting those rewards and those tokens as rewards automatically. So that's a very, very unique, non-inflationary, and powerful utility for people to get involved with KOLnet. Uh, and so up until the platform is running, we will be offering a inflationary mechanism by way of APY of KOLnet, but that's just only until the we've got IMOs up and running on KOLnet, after which that will no longer be available. So, and in terms of community, I've just gone through some of the partnerships and some of the communities that are getting involved. They're absolutely massive. You know, from India, Crypto Boost, Spanish, Cryptos in American, European. So like there are loads of different communities getting involved and signing up with KOLnet.
Awesome, awesome. Thanks for the question, Boomer. Those were actually good questions. Um, before, because I mean, we're probably going to stop here with the questions because there are still there's still something that I would like to cover with you, Ryan, and I think this is very important for the community to know. First of all the questions that were not answered, because I'm sure we could spend even 6 more hours and there would still be more questions, that's for sure. You guys have the socials linked already in Phoenix. I'm going to make sure that you guys know them again. So you can definitely go ahead and ask the questions in the community, and probably the moderators or Ryan or even Atif themselves, they can go ahead and answer them. I did provide the documentation still, if you guys wanna check that out. One thing that I wanna, and I think this is very important, Ryan. Can you go through the tokenomics a bit and explain how you guys thought the process? Uh, yeah, I think that's very interesting to know.
So, so
Yeah,
Atif, are
Ryan,
you
do you want
coming
me
in
to
there?
cover that? Yeah. Uh, Sorry. Yeah. So I'll just cover that question just to kind of give you a brief overview of the tokenomics. So I'll just to give you a little. I mean, just recently in the last 2 months, we have kind of reviewed our tokenomics and we have updated them, taking the current market into consideration as well, and making sure that we don't create a huge amount of selling pressure onto the project and giving project longevity that it deserves. So one of the things we are, in terms of our, just to give you an overview, we have got a total of 1 billion tokens, and our initial market cap will be at 269K. The tokens have been, we had a mission which kind of with all the investors tokens came out over 10 months. Recently what we have done is we've spread that out over a period of 25 months, which really ends up reducing the mission process down and dropping down sort of heavy selling pressure onto the tokens. If there's anything in particular, what I can also do is, so that's general overview. There is a document of the updates that we did with the tokenomics. I can put that into the chat as well. It explains the prices and all the different pots. But if there's anything else in particular that you want to know about, we can obviously cover that as well. So, Alex.
Definitely, yeah, definitely. If you can post that, Atif.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that now. I will do that now.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, awesome. It's better to visualize because I am looking. I'm not sure if I'm looking at the proper economics, but it's yeah, it would be better to see them actually. Yeah.
Sure.
While you do that, because I'm looking at the series of the questions, and I think we may have managed to cover everything. I'll actually ask you guys right now: is there anything that I maybe failed to cover or ask about in the AMA that you guys want to bring forward?
No, I think we've covered it in terms of value proposition and what we're doing. I think we've gone through quite a lot. It's just I think just to mention that we do have an IDO that's currently taking place on GameStarter, one of our partner um, IDO platforms, and we are also have announced our launch, which is going to be the 29th of June. So join our socials if you want to learn more about the announcements with relation to where that's going to be listed.
Perfect. And to make sure that everybody knows, when is the IDO? If you can, because you mentioned the launch is on 29th.
The launch is on the 29th. Get you can get some you can get involved in the IDO, which is I think the registration is open up until the 26th. The sale starts on the 27th and it ends on the 28th.
Perfect. And then 24 hours later, we have the launch and the
And we
start of
are
this
listing on
beautiful
a
project.
sex as well, which we will be announcing. We're waiting for the sex. Obviously, they normally announce that first, so it'll probably be two days prior to the actual TGE. One thing I was going to mention was so we have got. I don't know if you are already aware or it was told or you've mentioned to the community. We have got five whitelist spots which we can offer you guys, your community. So if anyone is interested, they can get whitelisted. What that allows them to do is they will have to do the KYC, but they will not have to hold the game starter tokens in order to participate and get involved.
That's just brilliant. I mean, with the respect, I will let the community jump in on those for sure. But if you guys don't want them, I'll take them for sure.
Yeah, I mean, there's only limited amount, and we with so few of the aimers, including this one, and some KOLs, they've been offered them. There's not huge amounts of them, but so yeah, they're available for your community if you want to. If there's people that want to get involved, it's there. But we'll just need their wallet addresses. If you can pass them, and then we can get them pushed onto Game Starter.
I'll definitely make sure to grab the five wallets on the five winners for sure. From my perspective, since we kind of managed to cover pretty much everything, now we covered the IDO and the launch date as well. If this is okay with you, we can definitely wrap it up. I would like to make an ending statement of my own, if you guys would allow me, and then I will give you the floor to make one of your own ending statements. Is that okay with you?
Yeah, that's cool.
Perfect. Thank you. What I would like to say, definitely it was a pleasure hosting you guys, but the most important thing, I mean, I'll be honest with you, I tend to see probably 5 to 10 projects per day, either hosting them or researching or so on and so forth. What caught not only what caught my eye, what actually made me super bullish in any from every angle about KOLnet is the fact that you guys are tackling the most important aspect of DeFi in its core foundation. Um, Proof of marketing, and I've seen so many questions, I've given you guys documentation, is exactly what we need at this point in time, because even I can, let's say, pretend to be a marketer or a call or whatever, but once you guys can see my work, assuming that I have a portfolio which will be available on KOLnet, that's where you guys are gonna know that you can reach out to me or to whomever from the list and promote your project. So it's the most interesting and important aspect when it comes to a project. You need reliability and solid people to help you promote it. Sure, you can organize various competitions and shillings and so on and so forth, but when it comes to as we were speaking before about micro versus macro calls, when it comes to that area, you won't get access to those people unless you have a project like KOLnet. Sure, I mean, the documentation is there. You guys can research for yourself. I'm into this. I see the value, I see the potential, and I think it's the proper way of dealing with it. You launch in a full bear market, you develop, you constantly release new features, and when bull market, even the market starts to pick up, you will just skyrocket KOLnet because everybody would want to be a part of this. This is my ending statement. This is what I think. Um, yeah, I thank you, Ryan. I thank you, Atif, as well for participating into this AMA session. Thanks for reaching out to Phoenix Holdings and for being a part of the session itself. I'm happy that I think I have a good chance of being a part of this, hopefully. And yeah, I'm gonna give you guys the floor right now. Thanks again to you, to the team, for all of your engagement and dedication. I think this is definitely a top-notch project. You're tackling the most important perspective of projects these days.
Appreciate it, Alex. It's been a real pleasure speaking to you and the community and taking the questions. I think, yeah, I would advise everyone to kind of research and understand how projects actually market and why there's so much value within KOLnet. And it just in terms of um, uh, doing by what we believe in, we are fully audited as well, KYC'd and doxed. You can check it out on Certic. Certic is a well-known auditor, and so KOLnet is listed there, and you can check out those details as well. But thank you very much from my side.
Yeah, likewise, Alex. Thanks for having us on. And yeah, no, and the one thing I'd just like to add as well, because obviously a lot of people can't see what's happening in the background in terms of development. What we will be doing in the coming weeks is some of the product that we've developed, the version one especially, dropping out some videos as we start running some testing on it. We'll let the community be able to see, kind of get a feel of the product and how it works. Uh, so so they can actually see what's been happening in the background, all the hard work that we've been putting towards the development process. But yeah, thank you. And yeah, any questions from any of the community or yourself, feel free to reach out to us, and we'll get back to you on those as well.
Perfect, perfect. I'll make sure that everybody knows your socials again in case we weren't clear enough before the AMA and the post. Thanks a lot again. Congratulating you from the bottom of my heart. I think this is a top-notch project. I cannot wait for it to launch. 29th is the launch. I'll try to make a summary of the IDO dates for everybody to know. Although they are in the article, if I'm not mistaken, from the one that Atif that just posted. You guys have the medium there, so you can read more. Thanks a lot for the team. Congratulations again. We wish you the best here at Phoenix, and we hope to have you here again for a post-launch AMA, so that everybody knows that, yeah, basically what you guys promised, you delivered, and you will do that, even if it's gonna take a bit more.
Look forward to it, Alex. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Absolute pleasure.
Thanks a lot. Pleasure from my side as well. Thanks everybody for participating. Much love to you guys. Bye for now. Have a great evening, everybody.